We strong.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another learning. For English 6, Quarter 3, Week 7, Most Essential Learning Competencies. The topic is evaluating narratives based on how the author developed the elements, theme, point of view. So before we proceed, please, I would like to request, please subscribe and click the notification bell for more updates of videos. Thank you! Okay, now kids, the objective. Child should be able to evaluate narratives based on how the author developed the elements, the theme, point of view. It is what the story teaches its readers. And the theme, it is the lesson that the author wants us to learn from the story. It is the central message of literary work. And it tells what we should and we should not do to ensure happiness and success in our own lives. So that's the meaning of theme. The following are important points to remember when writing a theme. First, for a better understanding, themes are the best written in a complete sentence. They're what we call thematic concept, which is the broader topic that a story touches. Examples of these are love, forgiveness, bravery, happiness, heroism, sacrifice, and justice. Then there is thematic statement, which is the argument the writer makes about the topic through his or her work. Example of this is love cannot be bought. Number 2, a theme does not contain character names. Third, a theme is true to everyone. Then fourth, don't include specific plot points of the story. And fifth, don't be obvious. Sixth, don't make it a piece of advice. And seventh, don't use cliché. A cliché is a phrase or expression that has been used so often that is no longer original or interesting. It is something that is so commonly used in books, stories, etc. that it is no longer effective. 8. Themes avoid absolute terms such as all, none, everything, always. So don't forget the important points to remember when writing a theme. Okay? Aside from theme, a narrative has an element called point of view. Point of view is the mode of narration that an author employs to let the readers hear and see what takes place in a story, poem, or essay. Narrator is the person telling a story. He is the one describing what is happening or what goes into a scene of the story. There are 3 main types of point of view. First person. The author is involved in the story. He or she may be the main character or one of the characters. The pronouns I and we are used. Example, I was crying one morning when my mother asked, "What's happening to you?" So that's first person. Second person is type of point of view that is rarely used in literary writing. It is commonly used in instructional writing. The pronoun you is used. Example, you should pack lightly when you go backpacking. You will have a good trip if you're aware of the safety precautions. Third person, the author or narrator is not involved in the story. He or she is only a witness. He or she knows the thoughts and feelings of the characters. The pronouns he, she, it, and they are used, of course, are used. Example, Jason felt like he has done something good for others. He wanted to do more to give assistance to those who are in need. So don't forget, kids, that there are three main types of point of view. First person, the author is involved in the story, and you can see the pronouns that we use in here is I and we. Okay, for the second person, it's about the point of view of use the one you are talking or the one spoken to. Okay, then the third person, it is involved there that he or she or it, the characters or the pronouns that they are using. Okay? The third person. First person, I, we. Second person, you. And third person, he, she, it, and they. Okay? That's the three main types of point of view. Now, children, let us read the story, The Prince and the Pauper. Okay? You can see also that one in your book, Join Learning English 6 textbook on pages 76 to 77. Then after reading, we're going to answer the question that follows. What are those? What are these questions? The first one is, what did you learn about Tom in the beginning of the story? And second, how was Tom able to enter the palace? Third, why did Edward and Tom decide to exchange clothes? Fourth question, why did the prince go out of the gate? What happened to him? Fifth, point out the character traits of the prince from these scenarios. Okay, first, letter A, the way he treated Tom. His conversation with Tom, letter B, and letter C, the way he dealt with the cruel soldier. Sixth, is it realistic for a rich boy to switch roles with a poor boy? Explain. Then seventh, if you have to choose between the prince and the pauper, who do you want to be and why? And number 8, what important lesson did you learn from the story? So let us going to answer that after we finish reading, okay? Okay, the selection is about The Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain, retold by Sriya Sharma. Okay, are you ready to read? Once upon a time, a son was born to a king and queen. He was called Edward, and everyone in the palace rejoiced and blessed the infant prince. That same day, another little boy was born to a very poor family. His name was Tom. His family was so poor that they rarely had enough money to buy food. Prince Edward had plenty of food and beautiful clothing. The king doted his only son and raised him in comfort and love. Tom grew up in poverty and hunger and had to beg stranger for a bite to eat. His father was cruel and mean. Tom was upset one day and left home and wandered the streets aimlessly until he found himself before a magnificent palace. The guards stopped him from entering the palace. Just then, Prince Edward was returning from a stroll when he heard the guards' angry shouts. But being a good prince, he commanded the guards to let him enter the palace. The prince gave Tom many good things to eat. The two boys exchanged clothes and they were amazed to see how much alike they looked. Dressed as Popper, the prince walked out of the palace as he wanted to see the outside world. The guard frowned at him angrily. The guard threw the prince out of the castle. Meanwhile, Tom's father, who had been searching for him through the streets, saw the prince and rushed towards him. He ill-treated the prince like he always did. And in the palace, Tom was little better off. However much he tried to tell he was not Prince Edward, no one would listen. Even the servants didn't believe him. Tom had no choice but to continue his masquerade. The prince was beaten by Tom's father every day. The prince was afraid to him and no longer tried to argue. As he made his way through the village, the prince thought about the things he had experienced. He wanted to punish Tom's father, for no one at the palace would recognize Edward as the true prince. Edward continued to go from door to door, but no one in the village wanted to give him any food. Edward kept wandering the village, but he couldn't even manage to get one meal a day. Several days went by like this. One day, Edward came upon a knight from a neighboring country whom he had met before. Once they had participated in an archery competition together. Grabbing his chance, Edward reminded him of the details of their last meeting and tried to convince him of his true identity. The knight agreed and promised to help him. He seated the prince on his horse, and they rode to the palace together. While all this was happening, the king died, and everyone at the palace was focused on Tom's coronation. At the moment, Prince Edward burst into the throne room. Tom was confused. He knew what his duty was, but he was afraid to go back to his former life as pauper. Finally, he made a decision and raised his voice above the din. "He speaks the truth," Tom declared. "I am not Prince Edward. He is." Tom had always been honest and decent boy, and so Prince Edward was crowned king. He was deeply impressed with Tom's honesty and loyalty. Tom became King Edward's favorite, and he gave him the title as the King's Ward. Okay. Now, children, since we finished reading already, it's the time for us to answer the questions. Okay. First question, what did you learn about Tom in the beginning of the story? Okay. Tom was born to a very poor family. That's the beginning of this story. And the second question, how was Tom able to enter the palace? How was Tom able to enter the palace? They met at the palace when Tom was driven away by the guards. And Tom commanded the guards to let Tom enter the palace. Okay? Then, why did Edward and Tom decide to exchange clothes? Because they were amazed to see how much alike they look. And fourth question, why did the prince go out of the gate? And what happened to him? In the story itself, uh, the prince, the prince, the prince wanted to see the outside world. Okay, and what happened to him? He got the guard frowned at him angrily and he threw the prince out of the castle. Okay, then what else? You will find later. Then point out the character traits of the prince from these scenarios. The way he treated Tom. So the character of the prince is so kind. He is kind and generous to Tom. Then, how about his conversation with Tom? What's the character traits? He's friendly. He's friendly to Tom. And let us see the way he dealt with the cruel soldier. He's a good commander. He commanded the soldier to let Tom in. Is it realistic for a rich boy to switch roles with a poor boy? And this is your point of view. You're going to explain this one. Is it realistic? Yes or no? And try to explain this, okay? And the seventh question, if you have to choose between the prince and the pauper, who do you want to be and why? So if you want to choose, who do you want to be? A prince or a pauper? And you have to reason out why. And the eighth question is, what important lesson did you learn from this story? So what is the important lesson in here? You try to answer, okay? Then, this time, let's evaluate the theme and in the short narratives by choosing the correct thematic statement. Write your answers in your notebook. The first one is the title, The Forgiving Crocodile. Let us read all together, please. The Forgiving Crocodile talks about a family of crocodile and an old woman. The old woman asked favor from the mother crocodile, Buhaya, to spare her life, and in return she would take care of her two little babies. However, Aling Sita did not value their agreement. She sat all day ignoring the two little crocodiles. Buhawaya discovered what Aling Sita has been doing. So, she gathered poisonous snakes for Aling Sita instead of delicious food and gave them to her. Aling Sita was frightened and asked for forgiveness from what she did, from what she's done. From then on, Aling Sita took good care of Buhaya's babies. Which is the best way to write the theme? Letter A, forgiveness. B, forgiveness is great. C, fulfill the agreement made with someone. D, forgive someone who did something bad to you. Okay, so what will be the correct answer here? As we all know that we have tips already about this statement, thematic statements. So there are guidelines that you will answer. Okay, so in this question, what is the correct answer? Letter C. Good. Next. Second, the crab and the spider. Let us read all together. One day a crab wanted to look for a spider for its food. After some time, the crab rolled over a sugar-cane mill and peeped inside, but there was no spider. He went to the mountain and found a tree. He climbed the tree to look for, for a spider, but there was none. He went to the other side of the mountain and saw a hole. He was very happy to see two spiders. The two spiders ran away and pretended to jump into a cooking pan with boiling water. Without a second thought, the crab also jumped into the pan. So the crab was boiled and the two spiders went back home. What theme can we get from the story? A. Trust no one. B. Don't be in a hurry. C. Think twice before finding food. D. Recklessness leads to destruction. So on the crab and spider, what will be the answer? So as we know, don't what? Don't be obvious with this. So the correct answer for this is letter what? Letter B. Don't be in a hurry. Okay, next. Number 3, the praying mantis. One sunny day, there was a praying mantis who was about to lay eggs. She went to look for a place that no one could see. She found a path where there were footprints of a little bird named Igui. She followed the footprints but unfortunately, the footprints could no longer be seen when the bird ran on the water. She left the place and went back. At noon, she decided to go to the forest to continue looking for a nest. While she was walking, her feet were wounded and called for help. Igwe came and treated her feet. She thanked Igwe and finally climbed the tree, which is the most appropriate main theme of the story. A. It's okay to ask for help. B. Ask help. C. Help someone who is in need. And D. Igwa is a helpful bird. So what is your answer here? Okay, the answer is help someone who is in need, letter C. Okay, this time, write first, second, or third to show the point of view from which the piece has been written. Write your answers in your notebook. The first one. So all you have to do is to answer first, second, or third. You know already the difference between first, second, or third point of view, right? Okay, number 1. Let us read. In Japan, more than 200 years ago, a lonely little boy grew up to be a great man. His name was Yataro Kobayashi. Yataro has been left motherless at an early age, and his father, though kind, was often too busy to take notice of him. So, what is the point of view? Okay, good. If your answer is Third person. Third, you're right. Okay? Next. By this time, darkness was coming on and weakened and tired as I was. I lay down and fell asleep on the grass. When I awakened, it was daylight. I was lying on my back, and when I tried to rise, I could not. So this time, what is your answer? Okay, because of the pronoun I, it means to say that is first. Good. Okay, the third one. If you can't be a highway, then just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. Isn't by the size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Okay, because of the pronoun you and you spoken to, it means that the answer is second. Okay, good. The first one, I'm okay now that the water's back in the ocean. Did you know that water covers 71% of the Earth's surface? 328 million cubic miles to be exact. That's 1,361,000,000 cubic kilometers. Besides, why start moving it now when it's been around almost forever? And that's no fish story. The first ocean water came from the vapor in the atmosphere and water in rocks released during the Earth's formation. You don't go much further into the past than that. So because of the word I'm okay. I'm okay now. I'm okay now. So that is first. Okay. Good. Do you know? Did you answer correctly, children? Good. Okay, another exercises. Evaluate the short narrative by writing thematic statement and point of view of it. Do this in your notebook. One Monday morning, Celia was brushing her teeth. She used a glass to save water, as she always does. On the same day, Nestor was also brushing his teeth, but unlike Celia, he did not use a glass. The water suddenly stopped running from the faucet. Celia had water in a glass, so she rinsed her mouth clean. But Nestor did not have water, and so he went to school with a frothy mouth. Okay, let us find out the theme and the point of view. Okay, so what will be the theme here? What will be the theme? Okay, it can be what? You can write. You can write the theme there. A glass of water saves a day. Oh, and the point of view is second person. You can think of another thematic statement for this. And but the point of view with this, it should be what? The second. Second. Okay? Second. Is it second? Is it first, second, or third? Because we're talking about Celia. Celia and Nestor. So it means to say that the point of view here is the third person. Okay, third person because of the pronoun that we use, she and he. Okay? Okay, good. Next. Lee, who is ill, wishes to play with her friends, but her mom won't allow her to leave her room. She feels that Lee should eat, then sleep, so she will get well. Lee puts her elbows on the window. Psst. Windowsill sits still and listens to the kids' screams. So sad is she that she weeps, kneels, and prays that soon God will give her a blissful day. So what will be the theme here? Here and the point of view. Okay. So the theme, what's the theme here? Okay, it's B. God hears our prayers. Or pray for a blissful day. Pray heartily, and God will listen. Okay, and you can think of another one. How about the point of view? How will you notice it if it is first, second, or third? Okay. Okay, so it is what? Third person. Third person. Because of she, pronoun she, there. Okay, you got it? Good. Okay, this time, it's up to you to answer this, okay? Write the theme and identify the point of view of the following excerpts. Write your answers in your notebook. The choices, so after identifying that the theme, you have to identify also what choices it is. Is it A, first person, B, second person, C, third person, okay? So let us read all together. Sam and Bella were at Paris Park sitting on a bench together. Neither of them was smiling. After a long period of silence, Sam said, "This isn't going to work. I mean, you're an introvert person and I'm an extrovert person." Bella nodded. A tear rolled her face. Sam went on, "If we got married and live together, what kind of activities could we do that we will both enjoy? Enjoy somebody's going to be unhappy." Bella began sobbing and said, "Okay, let's just end it now. Have fun with your life." She jumped off the bench and ran into the streets. Okay, the theme of this short selection and the point of view. Okay? So the theme here, you can answer that. You can answer have fun with your life or enjoy life with someone you love. Okay? Enjoy life with someone you love. And the point of view here is it A, first person, second person, or third person? Because of the word I and we, that is A, first person. Next, Marco went out of the house to buy groceries. He didn't wear face mask as protection from COVID-19 virus. He didn't believe the virus exists. After a few days, he got symptoms and later on tested positive from the virus. So what is the theme here? And what is also the point of view? So it should be what? It should be what? It should be the theme here. You should what? Follow the protocols, or it depends upon your answer. Because of what is the point of view here? It is what? Okay, good. Be second person because of the next. Okay, that's all for today, kids. Thank you for being with me now. And for those who are not able to subscribe yet, please subscribe. And again, there is a notification bell in there. Try to click it for more updates of videos. Thank you, kids. Stay safe. God bless us all. Bye-bye.